South Africa's opening G20 speech shocked USA and the Western world. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a major global issue, South Africa's G20 presidency and the challenges it's facing. The latest G20 meeting in Cape Town ended without a consensus, and key officials from major economies were absent. So, what does this mean for global cooperation and climate finance? Let's break it down.
Increasing rate of climate-induced natural disasters is disproportionately affecting countries that can least afford the costs of recovery and rebuilding. And you talk to any African leader, they will tell you that as disaster strikes, as bridges are washed away, as schools and hospitals are washed away with floods that they have never seen before, that they know now emanate from climate change. They are not able to rebuild those roads, those bridges with greater ease without imposing a great debt burden on their economies, which pushes out the ambitions for further development. When repeated disasters lead to widespread damage of infrastructure, economic activity is disrupted and livelihoods are destroyed. Innovative financing and insurance mechanisms must be put in place by the global community, the financial institutions, development banks, and the private sector to scale up funding for disaster prevention and post-disaster reconstruction. This is an area we do believe the G20 needs to address and to find solutions for. Our second priority is to ensure debt sustainability for developing economies. In recent years, low and middle income countries have seen their levels of foreign or sovereign debt and the costs of financing that debt rise substantially. The combined external debt stock of low-income countries more than doubled in the decade to 2022.
South Africa recently hosted the G20 Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting, but things didn't go as planned. The two-day summit ended without a joint communiqué highlighting deep divisions among world powers. Instead, a chair's summary was released, reaffirming commitments to resisting protectionism and promoting fair trade. However, the meeting was overshadowed by the absence of top finance chiefs from the US, China, India, and Japan. These no-shows signaled growing geopolitical tensions, and South Africa was left disappointed by the lack of progress on pressing global issues. One of the biggest concerns was the impact of rising global tensions. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio had already skipped an earlier G20 foreign ministers meeting, citing concerns over anti-Americanism. This absence, coupled with reduced foreign aid from the US and Britain, created a fractured environment for global cooperation. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa didn't hold back. He warned that the erosion of multilateralism is a major threat to global stability. In his speech, he emphasized the need for a rules-based order to resolve conflicts and promote cooperation, especially in uncertain times. One of South Africa's biggest priorities as the G20 president is helping developing countries transition to low-carbon economies. However, the US is scaling back its support for climate finance, raising concerns that recent progress could be undone. Dumal Sanin from the Clean Air Fund voiced his fears about losing momentum on climate action. He pointed out that air pollution, climate change, and public health are all interconnected, and without global cooperation, developing nations could struggle to meet climate targets. South Africa is now pushing G20 members to commit to ambitious climate goals at the upcoming UN climate talks in Brazil. President Ramaphosa stressed the need for greater financial support to help developing nations transition to cleaner energy and protect vulnerable populations from climate disasters. For Africa, the stakes are high. Many urban areas across the continent already suffer from dangerous air pollution levels that exceed WHO standards. The fight against climate change isn't just about the environment, it's about protecting public health and economic stability. Experts believe awareness of climate risks is growing in Africa, but there's still a long way to go. Without stronger international support, efforts to reduce pollution and transition to sustainable energy could be severely hindered. So, what does this all mean? The G20's divisions highlight the growing challenges of global cooperation, especially in tackling economic and environmental crises. With major economies pulling back, developing nations like South Africa are left to push for stronger commitments. What do you think about the G20 stalemate? Should wealthier nations do more to support climate action? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more in-depth global discussions. See you in the next video.